Attendees, special guests, at this time I would like to introduce the chairperson of the National Organization of Gay and Lesbian Scientists and Technical Professionals, Shelley Diamond.
Well, hello everybody. Wow, you all came out early for this, and this is wonderful, and I do mean come out. So welcome to the 5th Biennial Out to Innovate Summit. I'm excited to welcome you, and I think it promises to be the best one yet. So here we are. People have traveled from all across the country to be here. So whether you've come from afar or close, I welcome you. NOGLSTP summits create a space to give voice to successful LGBTQ academics, industry, and government professionals to express their experiences and give proactive advice to underserved students and early career professionals. Because we come from diverse backgrounds with varied levels of experience and interests, and this is about sharing. It's about mentoring. It's about networking to enable our people to find people who look like themselves, who can share their mutual interests in a very safe environment. We're committed to promoting ethnic diversity and racial diversity within our community. It's really important that we all fight against bias and discrimination in all forms, and every community has their differences, their experiences, and their challenges, whether in terms of coming out, their study and work environments, or their social experiences that shape our emotions and lives. These days, issues are more real than ever, and every voice matters in this fight. Living at the intersection of racism, homophobia, and transphobia is difficult, and that brings us to this weekend and why we are all here. Out to Innovate would not be possible without the enormous effort that has been put forth by our volunteers. They are all committed for this. And I would like to call out a special few. Dr. Amy Ross, who brought us here to USC again and has personally arranged for everything about this event as it happens to be here. So thank you, Amy. Terry Dimby, where are you? Terry? Well, he's been the chair of this event, and we appreciate his efforts. Barbara Belmont, who's up at the reception desk, has cared for the back end of things, including the great app that we've got. So make sure you're all on the app, because that's where we're going to push messages, and you can find even the maps to get to where you are. TJ Ronigan, he's planned tonight's gala celebration, and most of all, a shout out to all the USC people for their generous sponsorships, the hospitality, and the guidance in the use of their beautiful campus, the Student Center in tonight's Town and Gown, Miguel Vasquez, who's our voice of God from the Lambda LGBT Alumni Association, Sorari Ogura from the USC Hospitality, and Michael Gorse from the LGBT Student Resource Center. Thanks so much to all of you. And of course, our sponsors and community partners. We could never do something like this without you. We need your support, and we appreciate it. Please be sure to visit these sponsors in the back of this room and show your support by thanking them for being here and sharing their experience. And I do mean sharing. Unlike most scientific conferences where people gather in their groups, whether they're cliques of professors or postdocs, whether they only migrate in their industry, and students of various interests, this conference is about sharing and networking and finding out people's stories and experiences. We've assembled the most accomplished group of speakers, panelists, and workshop presenters for you to explore. There are 20 workshops in total on widespread topics, and a poster session, flash presentations, plenaries, and a wonderful keynote. And don't forget tonight, our extraordinary gala, where we will be recognizing our Out to Innovate scholars and our Recognition Award winners. Also, there'll be special entertainment from my friend Randy Driscoll, who's just a very special ally to our community. But for now, this is all about you, about finding people who look like you, think like you, doing things that you want to be doing, and willing to give a helping hand to lift each other up onto the next rung of our personal and professional lives. I encourage you all to take advantage of every opportunity that you can in the next 2 days and have reciprocal mentorship, and I do mean the young people mentoring older people as well as the other way around, and to embed in this meeting the sharing that's so important. So make some new friends, exchange some social media with each other, tell us what you like, what you didn't like, gain insight and collaboration in a safe environment. But most of all, I want you to have some fun. That's really imperative. You gotta have some fun and take back some memories to inspire you for the rest of the year and longer. So we are queer, we are here, and we will rise and go forth and be a force for STEM. So recharge, ignite, and live your lives demonstrating that science, technology, engineering can be lived with pride. So thank you all for being here. I really appreciate it.
And now to introduce Catharine Harrington, USC Board of Trustee member and USC Lambda co-founder, Amy Ross.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. Wow, it's wonderful to see everybody here so early. Thank you and welcome to USC. Well, to start us off here, it is my true pleasure to introduce my dear friend, Dr. Catharine Harrington, to officially welcome us on behalf of USC. Catharine became Vice President of Admissions and Planning at USC in August 2010. She served as Dean of Admissions and Financial Aid since 2005. She is also a professor of clinical management and organization at the USC Marshall School of Business. As Vice President, Catharine provides oversight for USC's enrollment activities, including undergraduate and graduate admissions, the Admissions Visitor Center, right upstairs, orientation programs, Welcome Week, financial aid, academic records, and the registrar. That's why she was here at the crack of dawn this morning. She also oversees USC's institutional research activities. During Catharine's tenure as the university's chief enrollment officer, the undergraduate population has become one of the most diverse and highly selective of any U.S. research university. And USC's unrestricted financial aids for undergraduates has grown to be one of the largest in the country. Prior to her work in enrollment, Catharine served as Associate Vice Provost for Academic Programs, Associate Dean of Undergraduate Programs at the USC Marshall School of Business, and the Associate Director of the USC Center for Crisis Management. Catharine's academic areas of interest include organizational ethics and the intersection of leadership, decision-making, and ethics. Each spring, she also teaches, as she is now, an upper division undergraduate elective course on social and ethical issues in business. And this spring, she is teaching an additional honor seminar in leadership. Catharine earned her BS in Business Administration from the University of Redlands, her MBA from Pepperdine University, and she came to USC in 1990 as a part-time graduate student in the PhD program in Religion and Social Ethics. At the time, she was also Senior Vice President at Glenfed Bank, where she led the Real Estate Loan Services Division operations for $22 billion in mortgage assets and oversaw the national deposit operations. And somehow through all of that, she did manage to complete her PhD in 1993, and she has been here ever since because we just won't let her go anywhere. So please welcome my dear friend, Catharine Harrington.
Good morning, Amy. Thank you. That was an introduction that my father would have appreciated and my mother would have believed. I am here this morning on behalf of our president, Wanda Austin, on behalf of our provost, Michael Quick, our academic deans, and the entire faculty to welcome you to the University of Southern California. I think most of you, if not all of you, know that USC hosted the first ever Out to Innovate conference in 2010. We're enormously proud to welcome you back home. We have Dr. Amy Ross to thank for the long-standing and close relationship between USC, and I've been practicing saying this, NOGLSTP. In 1992, Amy and 5 other tenacious and courageous USC alums founded Lambda, the LGBT Alumni Association, and since then, Lambda has really been the conscience of the university for all things relating to the LGBTQ members of our university community. And it seems to me that this is a very important part of the work that your organization does as well, to be the conscience of the scientific community on behalf of our brothers and sisters. The conference is important for many reasons, not the least of which is creating visibility and promoting community. I did a little bit of research about your organization, and as a social ethicist, I was very pleased to note that your organization's core values have a prominent place on your media presence. You list those values as including authenticity, credibility, community, equal opportunity, professionalism, truth, fairness, and safety. At USC, we talk a lot about the Trojan family. We like to point out that Trojans seek to be faithful, scholarly, courageous, skillful, and ambitious. But in addition to those aspirational traits, it is also the case that the Trojan family is bound together by shared values. Our values include academic freedom, the rigorous search for truth, tolerance, more importantly, inclusion, a recognition of the diversity of the human condition, and a commitment to do scientific and scholarly work that improves the human condition. So it seems to me that our two organizations, USC and NOGLSTP, are connected not just historically, but philosophically as well. So think with me for a moment about the world of today and tomorrow, the world in which you operate, the world in which students graduating from USC and other colleges and universities are moving into. We find ourselves in a social and a political environment that is deeply polarized and gratuitously hostile to anyone and anything that may be perceived as the other. We find our country's leadership frighteningly anti-science. And our world is riddled with what you science types have taught me are called wicked problems. Those serious challenges that are multifaceted, interconnected, interdependent, difficult to define, perhaps impossible to solve. Here's a newsflash for you. We are counting on those of you in this room and others with your ability, talent, and tenacity to lead us to something better. So in addition to creating visibility and promoting community, this conference is about making justice in the world. You make justice every day by being your authentic selves. I applaud each and every one of you and your organization for all that you do in this regard. USC is enormously proud to welcome you to our campus for this important conference. Thank you.
Okay, a little slight change on the fly here. As you may have noticed on either side of the podium here, and possibly when you checked in this morning, we have, yes, our spokesperson here, spokesmodel, will show some wonderful commendations that we have received. We are very happy to have the support, and you'll hear in a few minutes, from some of our most esteemed government leaders. So on behalf of the Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors, dear friend and our openly lesbian supervisor, Sheila Kuehl, has a wonderful commendation that was been signed by all of the Los Angeles County Board of Supervisor members. And the thing about it, if you get a chance to look at it, when she asks them, she has all kinds of scientific notation on it. So when I called her to thank her, I said, how did you do? You've got, Chi in there, all these wishes. I just told them to nerd it up for you. And they did a great job. So our thanks to the County Board of Supervisors, and also from Mayor Eric Garcetti's office, a wonderful commendation talking about Out to Innovate and NOGLSTP, and for people like you who make the reality of equality in science every single day. Shelley.
Okay. It's my pleasure to introduce my California State Senator, Anthony J. Portantino. Senator Portantino was elected this last term, but previously was in California State Assembly member since 2006. And he's been a long-time ally of the LGBTQ community and an early leader in AIDS education. So Anthony, please come up.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. They brought me up to lead you in calisthenics. No, I'm only kidding. I think exercise is overrated. But I'm State Senator Anthony Portantino, and I'm really, really, really happy to be here because science played a role in my becoming a politician. Many, many years ago in chemistry, the mole conquered me. So I had to shift my focus from science to public policy. You can laugh at that. That's okay. But I'm happy to be here, and I have to tell you, listening to Catharine talk about how important it is to have science-based decisions, I can't tell you how frustrated last year we had a public policy conversation on the floor of the California State Assembly, and several assembly members got up and said, well, I don't dispute the science, but, and then voted against something where there was 3 decades of science to support it. So if you believe in science, there is no but, right? 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 I just want to make sure we're all here. By the way, the California State Legislature has a fellowship for 10 scientists every year through the California Institute of Science and Technology. We pick 10 science professionals to come to the Capitol for a year to help us navigate public policy. And of the 100 fellows who have done it in the past 10 years, about 50 have stayed in public policy. And the whole idea is, I was a filmmaker by profession, and now I get to regulate science. We should have scientists involved in the conversation, don't you think?
Absolutely.
So that was the whole point of it, is to get more science professionals involved in public policy. You wanted me to tell a story about my brother. I am a proud, straight, gay ally because I grew up with one of the strongest, most important gay activists in California history. My older brother, Michael, owned the Gay and Lesbian Times, which was, at the time before he passed away, the largest gay newspaper in California. And why it was significant is my brother bought this paper 40 years ago, and it was called the Gay Times. And he said, you know what? We're not a gay community, we're not a lesbian community, we're not a trans community, we're one community with a common struggle. And he changed the newspaper's name from the Gay Times to the Gay and Lesbian Times. And that was the first major publication, first marketing effort to ever say to the community, we're one community with one common struggle. And so that's why he was very, very important to the gay movement. Also, he and his partner were the first gay couple to get custody of my niece in California over the objections of her mom. And I used the story of my niece who was living on the street with a teenage drugged out mom who ended up ODing at 17, living in dumpsters, and my brother and his partner who raised her, and now she's a proud 35-year-old with a master's degree, wonderful child. And I always say, where was she better off? With 2 men who loved her or living on the street? And so that was my brother's story. And so he inspired me, and he passed away about 5 years ago. And so I vowed to continue his struggle, which is why I'm here today to say welcome and good morning to all of you. And I just hope you have a great, great conference. By the way, networking is important. How many of you have gotten a card from somebody today? I know. I'm a dad. Remember, I tell my daughters all the time, the one thing I do 24/7 is I'm a dad. So I'm challenging you. Each of you must get 10 business cards from 9 other people or 10 other people. Plus, don't just get the business card. Arrange a follow-up meeting, phone call, FaceTime, because don't just take the card and throw it in your drawer when you go back. Because together you have power. Together you have influence. Together you make a difference. You know, and that's why this conference is so important. I also have honor certificates for Dr. Benny Chan, Dr. Adriana Morales, Dr. John Freeman, and Dr. Lauren Esposito. So we have Senate commendations for each of them as well. And how many of you are from New Jersey? What exit? What? 7A. I used to get, I am exit 105 on the Garden State Parkway. I'm from West Long Branch. You're from Trenton? Yeah, I went, how many here are from Pennsylvania? I went to Albright College in Reading, Pennsylvania. Where are you from in Pennsylvania? Philly. Go Villanova today at 3:30. My older brother went to Villanova. My sister went to Widener. So I'm from New Jersey. My wife's from Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, and we met on the library steps in college. So whenever she gets mad at me, she says, "I've known you since I was 18," and then whatever follows is never good. But college networking, it's all important. Thank you for being out here. Thanks USC for putting this on. And Shelley, my dear friend, I'm going to give her a hug. Have a great rest of your conference.